And we are live. What's up, my friends? Abby here. Welcome to the first Write With Me live stream of our 2024 June writing retreat. This is our 4th annual writing retreat here on my channel, and I'm so glad you're here for it. I'm so glad that we are all able to write today. It's so exciting. So first things first, tell me if you can see me and hear me okay. Make sure that my mic and camera are working good. So type in the chat, let me know. And welcome. If this is your first time to one of these Write With Me live streams, I'm so glad you could finally make it. And for a lot of you, it's your first time at the writing retreat this year because this is our first live stream group session that we've done together of the month. So if you've been on my channel recently, you know that we are doing a writing retreat from home all month long. This is like an annual tradition now on my channel. And so all month we are doing Write With Me live streams and hanging out in the Discord community, writing together and making progress on our works in progress. So awesome. You guys can see me and hear me? Wonderful. So type in the chat, tell me where you're tuning in from and what you're writing today. I'd love to hear about it. And if you're part of the writing retreat, if you are, then you've been receiving daily emails from me, encouraging you, inspiring you to keep going and giving you some helpful tips and techniques along the way. And if you're just hearing about this and you're like, wait, what? How do I join this retreat? Can I join? Is it too late to join? It's not too late to join. You can absolutely still join. In fact, I will post the link to the sign up page in the chat. If you haven't joined the writing retreat yet and you want to, there is absolutely still time to do so because we're only 1 week into this. So, jump on in, have fun. So join the writing retreat here. If you haven't done so already, I'll post the link in the chat. So I'm so excited to see everybody tuning in from all over the world. Awesome. There's so many writers here. I think this might actually be a record for how many writers have been on a live stream. We have almost 800 writers here. It's amazing. You guys are so amazing. Okay. I see writers from everywhere. South Carolina, Illinois, Michigan, Texas. Awesome. I see some from England, Barcelona, Virginia, India, Finland. So cool. So welcome, everyone. I'm so glad you're here. If this is your first time doing one of these live streams with me, here's how they work. So we're going to do writing sprints together. And writing sprints are basically, we focus 100% on our manuscripts for a certain amount of time, 25 minutes, and then we take 5-minute breaks in between to chat about our stories. I will answer some questions that may come up in the chat, and then we jump back into it. Okay, so we're going to do that for 4 sprints. 4 sprints just like that. 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off. And during those breaks, we can share our word counts, chat about our books. You can ask me questions. It's super fun, super chill. Pajamas welcome. So keep it fun and enjoyable. No pressure, no judgment. That's what this whole writing retreat is about. It's not about everybody hitting a certain word count goal. If you have a word count goal, that's awesome. And that is personal to you and your writing project. So that is what the goal is here. Everybody has their own goal with this writing retreat. My goal is to finish my first draft of my nonfiction book, and that is what I'm going to be working on today. So I'm very excited to share this nonfiction book with you guys. Awesome. I've seen some super chats come in already. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you to Shaylon and to Hannah. Hannah says, happy writing retreat this month. So thankful for this retreat and all the sweet and encouraging emails. Thanks, Abby. Excited to be with our stories today. Thank you so much, Hannah. Thank you for being here. Thank you to everyone who's giving super chats. Okay, so who's ready to get into the first writing sprint? I know I'm ready. I have a lovely iced latte here. Hopefully you have something yummy to drink and a cozy writing space where you will not be disturbed for the next 2 hours if you can stay for the whole session. Otherwise, you can just stay for as much of it as you can. Okay. So I'm also going to, as I set up this timer for us, I'm also going to set up a sprint in the Discord community. So if you're in Discord, you can hop over there and join that sprint as well. If you're not in the Discord, you can join my Discord by joining my Patreon at any level. And the link to that is below this live stream if you are interested. The Discord is pretty fun because we do writing sprints in there all the time. I'm in there every day this month doing writing sprints with you guys, chatting about our books, sharing progress updates. So it's really fun. Great, amazing community in there if you want to check that out. Okay, who's ready to get started? Let's get into our first sprint. I'm going to set the timer here, and I'm going to also set a timer to ring 25 minutes from now. So let's set both those timers. Set your own timer if you like, or just follow mine. And good luck, everyone. Let's go. there is sprint number 1 finished. Wonderful work, guys. Tell me how it went. Type in the chat. If you want to share your word count, feel free, or just share how much progress you just made in this first sprint today. I am so excited you all are here. I'm like freaking out that there's so many writers here today. It's amazing. There's over 1,000 writers on this live stream. Wow, so cool. Okay, looks like you guys are making awesome progress. Fantastic work. Wow, so many words being written. Awesome. Wonderful work, guys. If you're in the Discord, feel free to update your words there. I did join the Discord sprint, I think, but I don't think I put a word count. Did I? Oh, I did. Okay, great. I was afraid I didn't. Okay, 988 words is what I ended up with. Which is about 250 new ones, because I was mostly reworking, rejigging some things, rewriting, revising. That's basically the process of this nonfiction book so far. Lots of rewriting. Okay, let's see. I saw a few super chats come in during the live stream. Let me see if I can find the one that went by that was a question. But we're going to take a quick break here, and feel free to ask me questions in the chat. I will try to answer as many as possible in this break, and then hopefully we will have time for more questions in the next break as well. So we're going to do 3 more sprints, guys. If you are here for them, stick around, and we're going to get into that in a few minutes. Let's see. Under Your Bed asks, any tips for starting a second draft after struggling with character voice? So character voice to me is like one of those things that you just have to practice over and over and over again, and then someday it will just click for you and you will be like, okay, I get it. And to me, the thing that helped me so much with writing character voice was writing fan fiction because I was able to really sink into the voices of characters that I really loved and pick characters who were very different from each other. And that would be my number 1 piece of advice when trying to practice character voice, is make your characters' personalities and their style of speaking to themselves in their own heads very different from each other. Make their personalities totally different from each other, to the point where you can not even need a chapter heading to say whose point of view it is. That's kind of the goal. If people tell you that once you publish your book, that like I didn't even need to look at the chapter heading, I just knew whose point of view it was from their voice, then congratulations, you have nailed your character voice. Danielle asks, I'm struggling to move my outline along because I keep getting bogged down in the details. Any tips on how to not do that? That is so difficult. I know. I really struggle with this too, because I am definitely a details person. But my advice would just be to save those things for later by putting placeholders in if you need to do that. So if you need to do some research on something or figure out the name of something, or like just specific details about an aspect of your story, put a placeholder, call it something else for now, and remind yourself, I'm going to change this, but for now I'm calling it this. For now I'm naming this character this, or this country this, and later I will look up the details of that. So if you don't absolutely need to know these details to continue forward and to start drafting, then just save it for later. You can always figure out the smaller things later. Let's see. So a couple more questions here before we get into our next sprint. Daydream asks, how do I show character development for a character who is not the protagonist? That's also a great question. So for a character who isn't the protagonist, I would say you have a few options here. Obviously, you have switching points of view, but if you're not switching points of view and you just have one point of view as the protagonist, then you have opportunities to let the side character's plot like overlay and interweave with your main character's plot. And I did a whole live training about subplots that I highly recommend checking out. That's in my Patreon when you join at the live training pass level. But in that training, I talked about how subplots are really the side character's plot and how you can show this character's transformation on the side by letting them come into the space, into the world of the main character, right? Like Jane Austen was such a wonderful master at doing this, particularly with works like Emma, for example, is such a masterclass in subplots, how Emma's character arc is really impacted by all of the other characters around her, and how as we watch these characters interacting with her, we see them going through these different journeys, internal journeys, and they are coming to new realizations and making decisions based on their beliefs in such a way that we see them changing as characters. It's the actions, right? It's the decision-making process of the other characters that make us see how they have transformed, because the decisions they're making at the beginning of the story are going to be very different than the decisions they're making towards the end of the story, and that's what shows us their character arc. I could go on and on about this, but I'm not going to ramble on too long because we have to get into our next writing sprint. But I highly recommend checking out my live training on subplots because it's very good, very juicy, lots of value there. Okay, let's get into our next writing sprint, and then we're going to do another break and I'll answer some more questions. So I'm going to reset my timer here, and I'm going to set up a new sprint in Discord. Feel free to join there if you want. Lots of writers in Discord. So cool. And again, if you want to join the Discord and you're not in the Discord already, you can join by joining my Patreon at any level, and the link to that is below this video. Let's see, I'm actually working on my next chapter here, so I have 372 words so far in my notes. Okay. Also, guys, real quick, I wanted to say this earlier and I forgot. I'm going to be hosting a live training this weekend, this Sunday. I host live trainings at the beginning of each month. I didn't do it last Sunday because our writing retreat had just begun, but I'm doing it this Sunday, and it is a live training all about writing best friends to lovers romance. This is something that you guys have been requesting a lot. I've had a lot of requests for this topic. So if you guys are interested in that live training, it is happening Sunday on June, what is that, the 9th? Yeah, I believe so, the 9th, and at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I will post the link in the, actually, you can go to the link in the description. Go to the link in the description, which is my Patreon, and if you join at the live training pass level, you get access to the Discord, and you can get access to all my live trainings, including the one this weekend about writing best friends to lovers romance. So check that out. Okay, let's get into our next sprint. I've been rambling for too long on this break. Okay. So grab your works in progress and let's get back into it. Set my timer. Okay. That is sprint number 2 finished. Great job, guys. Tell me how it went in the chat. Share your word count if you desire. Let's see. How many words did I write? Kind of bouncing around. So I have two different documents I'm working in here. 482 plus another. Where am I? Another 192. So I'm gonna call it 600. Great job, guys. Wonderful work. You are so amazing for sticking with it, for showing up for your creativity, and for being here on this live stream and writing with all of us. It's so much fun. I'm so happy to see all of you making a fantastic progress. So cool. So we have 2 more sprints to do, but before we do those sprints, I first want to take a quick break and answer a few questions that came in during the live, or if I missed your question during the live, go ahead and post it again. But it looks like you guys had an awesome sprint. Fantastic work. Let's see. Once Upon a Time asks, any tips for improving writing style? My number 1 tip for improving writing style would be to write. It sounds like so obvious, but it's true. I mean, practice and time works wonders, and you will find that just the more you write, the more you find your writing style and your voice, and the more you just expand your vocabulary. Also, I would say reading does help to expand your vocabulary, and reading books that you just genuinely enjoy reading. So don't worry about like reading books that other people tell you to read or that, you know, are trendy right now or whatever. Like read books that personally draw you in. And if there is a particular author's writing style that resonates with you, that can be a fantastic way to really just fall in love with words and expand your vocabulary. And I found that really helps me with my writing style to just find new ways to express what you're trying to say in words. But practice, practice, practice makes perfect. Let's see. Someone asked, what is my book about? The curiosity is taken over. So what I'm working on right now, the book I'm working on right now is my nonfiction book, which is about writing. So you guys have been asking for a long time, when are you going to publish a nonfiction book? I'm working on it right now. I am writing the first draft, and I'm really liking how it's coming out. So this book is going to be like start to finish, how to take your ideas and turn them into a beautiful story of your dreams, to make your story matter. So it's kind of everything I talk about on my channel, but in a book format that is easy to follow. And another fun aspect of this book is that I am developing a real story in real time throughout the process of this book. So you're able to sort of look over my shoulder and watch as I develop the characters, the plot, every aspect of this book. So it's kind of a twofold project here. And the book that I'm developing is the perfect fantasy novel that I outlined for that writing challenge video back in earlier this spring, which you guys probably remember. But yeah, so I'm developing that and writing the nonfiction at the same time, kind of as a joint project, because both aspects are involved in this book. It's going to be epic. I can't wait for you guys to read it. Maggie asks, how do I stay motivated to write? I would recommend reminding yourself always why it is you write. And this will be different for everybody, but if you can remind yourself of this, either with a note on your desk or on your phone background, on your desktop background, or just give yourself a moment each day to really think about what is it that draws me to storytelling over and over again that I would never get tired of. And that's going to be different for everybody, obviously, but remembering your why will keep you motivated, because it will push you through the hard days and help you get back up out of a slump or out of just a lull of not writing and feeling creatively burnt out. The love for the thing itself is what always brings me back to writing and keeps me motivated. Okay, I'm gonna answer one more question, then we'll get into our next sprint. Wheeled asks, how do you organize mainly world building and the planning stage? I use Scrivener, as you guys know, and in Scrivener, I like to organize everything based on different folders for different world building aspects. So for instance, this fantasy that I'm working on developing right now, I'm doing a lot of world building for that. And I start basically by creating different documents for each culture or area of the world. So it might be a different country or just a different aspect of the world. In this particular book, I have different countries, and then I also have different locations within each country. So I just like to keep things organized by breaking it down, a different document for each location, and giving myself just some idea of what is the culture, what is the climate like, what are some really important aspects of this. I try not to get too distracted on different little bunny trails. It can be fun to explore, I know, but I try to just stay on what matters the most for developing this part of the world. And I find that keeping it simple is really helpful. And also making aesthetic boards on Pinterest is really fun for world building, because it can kind of give you that visual inspiration. And fill in a lot of the gaps aesthetically without having to like describe everything to yourself. You can just go to your aesthetic board and be like, okay, yes, I know how this feels. I know how it looks. I know what the atmosphere and the mood feels like to be in this setting. So that's also really helpful, I find. Okay, let's get into our next sprint. So many writers in the Discord. It's amazing. Okay, and on this live stream. So cool. Okay, so I'm going to start another sprint in the Discord. Feel free to join over there. I'm actually going to do some developing now of my side characters for this example book, which is turning into a real book. So I'm starting with 192, and that is what I'm going to be working on next. Okay. Ready, set, go, guys. I will chat again in 25 minutes. Sprint number 3 is done. Fantastic work, guys. Hopefully that went well. I wrote quite a bit of character sketches here for my side characters. So yeah, coming along well. Came up with 553 words, but I started with like 180, so, or 190. A super chat came in during that sprint that I wanted to answer real quick as we go into our break here. Feel free to type in the chat with your questions and your word count if you want to share. This was from Ciela 1721. My outline seems to need more beats than a standard 3-act. I could make it a duology, but then the relationship arc, best friends to enemies to lovers, would be with them as enemies at the split. I'd rather not. Advice? Great question. So I love the arc of best friends to enemies to lovers. It's fantastic. And if you find that the 3-act story structure just doesn't have enough beats for you, it feels like the flow is just a little cramped, you need more room, you need more space, you need more beats, add them. this is flexible. The 3-act story structure is flexible. And what I mean by that is you can make your characters go through different stages of their relationships and face different conflicts depending on where they are in the story. It doesn't all have to follow the same goal or the same mission that they're trying to accomplish or the same end result they're trying to achieve, right? What they were focused on at the beginning in Act 1 might be very different than what they're focused on at the end. This is something I explored a lot with my latest novel, The Other World. All the characters really at the beginning, they're facing conflicts that are completely different than the conflicts they're facing towards the end of the book. It changes a lot throughout the story. I also wrote a story last year, a novel that was best friends to enemies to lovers. And the way I handled the best friends aspect was that all happened in the past. So in the present day, we meet the characters that are currently enemies and they used to be best friends. And then through flashbacks, we get to see how they were best friends and how that fell apart. So that's another way to do it. I've seen that done before as well. And that can be kind of interesting because you are starting in this place of these characters that have these, this intense dislike for each other, but they used to be great friends. And now we're like, okay, how did this happen? So there's curiosity there. And that's another way to leverage that. But if you feel like this story structure I need more space, then make more space. Find what feels good and just make sure that each decision that your characters are making, each external conflict that's pushing them outside their comfort zone matters to them. That's the most important thing. Fang asks, any tips on how to write faster? So writing faster is something that definitely isn't for everybody. And the pace at which you write is totally unique to you. And there's no good or bad speed at which to write. But I've found that for myself, what has helped me to write faster is to simply get rid of as many distractions as possible and to focus, to do things that improve my focus more, and to prepare things ahead of time. So I have a video on my channel called How to Write Your First Draft Fast. And in that video, I talk about how if you prepare your space ahead of time, prepare your food ahead of time, prepare source material ahead of time. I'm talking about dialogue, notes, outlines, very clear idea of what you're going to write going into the scene. And you prepare your research in part ahead of time, or you don't stop writing to research stuff. That right away, all of those things, and those are just a few of the points I go over, those things alone will help you to write so much faster. And writing sprints, of course, like this. But don't sacrifice your creativity for the sake of oh, I just need to get these words out faster. Because ultimately, what I've found through many years of writing and trying to write faster and then deciding that I didn't even need to, I have found that the best, most creative work for me comes out of forgetting that time even exists. When you're in that, I'm not going to nerd out too much about this because I'm rambling a lot. But when you're in that really creative, alpha brainwave state, time is not a factor. So try not to be restricted by time. Okay, one more question, then we're going to get into our final sprint here. Teresa Plays asks, how to balance between beige prose and purple prose? Great question. I actually have a video on my channel about purple prose and what to do instead. Check that out. I would say for finding the balance between purple prose and beige prose, or really plain and simple writing versus really flowery writing, this will come with time and lots of practice. But ultimately, ask yourself as you're writing, what does this look like or feel like? What is this experience of interacting with this thing from my character's perspective? What does it feel like to them? What does it look like to them? Because this will be different depending on what character you're writing, right? Depending on whose point of view you're writing and how they see the world around them and how they see other characters and how they see settings and landscapes and weather, every single aspect of what they're encountering as the character reflects upon who they are, their perspective of the world. So you have a really good opportunity there. And that's what I find really special about, being able to explore prose as an art form is, how does this character uniquely see this thing? It doesn't even have to be how I see it. It shouldn't be how I see it necessarily. It's how this character sees it, and how they see things is shaped upon their experiences in life and their beliefs. So yeah, lots to explore, but hopefully that helps. Just practice that, use that as an exercise, and I think you'll find that you enjoy writing prose more and more. Oh, thank you, Celia. You gave another super chat. Thank you so much, Abby. That's very helpful. Love to the other world. Thank you so much. Okay, let's go into our next and final sprint. Been rambling for 7 minutes. What the heck, Abby? Okay, I forgot to put my words in Discord, but I will go ahead and start another sprint in Discord. Last one of the session. And again, if you have just hopped on, we're going to do one more sprint. And if you're not part of Discord and you want to be, check out the link below this live stream. My Patreon, when you join that at any level, you get access to the Discord. So I would love to see you over there. It is a wonderful, vibrant community of writers just like you. And we have a lot of fun writing together and sharing our progress, celebrating wins, and of course doing this writing retreat, which has been really fun. Okay, so let's get into our fourth sprint. I'm going to go ahead and set my timer. Feel free to set your own or follow mine. Sprint number 4 is finished. Great work, guys. That was an amazing writing session. I got so much done. Hopefully you guys also had a very productive session. Type in the chat, tell me how it went. That was our 4th and final writing sprint, so we are wrapping up the session now. But if you're in Discord, go ahead and add your words there as well, or type here in the chat and let me know how it went. I wrote 384 words and have gotten pretty deep into creating my side character sketches, which has been pretty fun. Okay, thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you to everyone who gave super chats. And again, this is session 1 of 4 sessions that we are doing all throughout the month of June. So all month long on my channel, we are doing this writing retreat together from home. And I'm so glad you're a part of it. If you haven't signed up for the emails, there are daily emails of encouragement and inspiration that I send out every single day to your inbox to help you to stay on the path, stick around, and stay committed to your creativity. So if you want to sign up for those emails and get into the writing retreat officially, I'm going to drop the link right now in the chat for you to click on and sign up if you haven't already. If you have, then I will see you in tomorrow's email, and I will see you at the next writing session, which is happening next Friday. I can't remember what the schedule is for what time it's going up. It's either an afternoon session or a morning session, but check the schedule. It's on the page that I just posted the link for in the chat. And of course, stick around on Discord if you're in there. I'm in there every single day, posting progress updates, doing writing sprints with you guys. It's been really fun. Also, don't forget, my live training is happening this Sunday. It's about best friends to lovers romance. So if you are into that, you want to learn how to make your best friends to lovers romance feel realistic and believable and very swoon worthy, then definitely check out that live training. You can get that either on my Patreon, or you can click this link for the sign up for that. So posted the sign up page in the chat as well if you want to check that out. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining me today for this writing retreat session 1 live group session, and I will hopefully see you next Friday at session 2. Until then, guys, good luck with your works in progress, and as always, rock on.